Alright, so today we are looking at the Rise Armament RA-140 SST. The SST stands for Super Sporting Trigger. This is a single stage trigger that advertises a 3.5 pound pull weight, which we'll test in just a minute. Now, one thing I really liked about this is this had a very clean break with a very short reset. One thing that bugs a lot of new shooters and old shooters alike about the mil-spec AR-15 trigger is that there's a lot of slop and creep. It's got a very gritty pull, and it's a fairly long pull also to get to a somewhat less than optimal break. Now, no doubt there are some better mil-spec triggers out there than others. There are a few that even make a kind of upgraded mil-spec trigger, but for most triggers you're going to show a noticeable increase in your accuracy, especially on follow-up shots when going with one of these excellent drop-in trigger options. The trigger itself comes self-contained, and this is a drop-in design. You've got a very comfortable rounded design on the trigger face. I'm more of a flat trigger person myself, but I did notice this was very comfortable and very easy to use. A lot of your more mil-spec rounded triggers, you'll notice they're also rounded in this direction, and it can sometimes be hard to get a consistent pull. With this trigger here, even though it's curved in this direction, it's got a very flat surface right here. So it's easy to keep a good finger hold on this, and that's one thing I do really like about this trigger. The whole trigger is hard coat anodized, and it comes in a self-contained cassette, as you can see here. And I have to say, the machining on this is just beautiful. All of the edges are chamfered. There's a very nice, comfortable feel all the way around. It is nice to see when a company puts the extra effort in to just make the whole package more aesthetically pleasing. And also just, in my opinion, better machined all the way around. The whole unit comes in at about 2.6 ounces, and this is CNC machined and manufactured to AS 9100 aerospace requirements, so this is held to very tight tolerances. Rise Armament does suggest using a set of anti-walk pins. It's advertised that you can use standard AR-15 trigger and hammer pins. I did find that they had a tendency to walk a little bit after quite a few rounds. I went ahead and picked up a set of anti-walk pins, and I have to say I'm going to start using those on all of my builds from now on. A lot of them will go in with a nice Allen key, and they really hold everything into place. So I definitely suggest using those if you're going to get a drop-in trigger unit like this. There's also, and I was really happy to see this does come with a lifetime warranty. So Rise Armament says if you have any troubles with this, just contact them and they'll sort you out. Now, one thing Rise Armament is very careful to say is that there are some set screws around the design here, especially on the inside of the trigger. And now, especially with this one in here, you don't want to tamper with any of the set screws. That will void your warranty, so that's something you want to stick away from. If you have any troubles with fitment, definitely make sure you check with Rise Armament before you make any adjustments yourself, because you don't want that warranty to be voided. Now, I had a chance to take this out to the range, and I have to say it shot flawlessly. It fit into my rifle with no trouble at all. I went ahead and shot that in my AR-9 pistol build, and it functioned great. It had a nice, like I said, nice crisp break and a very short reset. It was easy to do follow-up shots, so I enjoyed this trigger very much. Now, as far as the trigger pull weight, I've not gotten to test that yet, so we're going to do that here. We're going to go ahead and take a look and see how close to that 3.5 pound pull that's advertised that it sits. But I have to say the trigger felt very light when I was shooting it at the range, so I have no doubt that it's going to be right about at that 3.5 pound trigger pull. So let's take a look here. Alright, so we've got this in our trigger jig, and we can see we can test this on fire and on safe, so we're good to go. Let's go ahead and test that trigger pull. Alright, so we got 2.13. 2.5, 2 pounds 15, 2 pounds 15. So we're averaging here about 2 pounds 12 ounces. So this is actually quite a bit under the pull weight that's advertised here. Now that doesn't bother me so much. Some people do want it to keep right at the number. They'd want to see it fluctuate no more than half a pound either way. I like my triggers just about as light as possible. I don't want a hair trigger, but I don't mind having a trigger that's under 3 pounds. As long as you're practicing good fundamentals and making sure to use your safety in between shots and everything, I don't find that under a 3 pound trigger is a problem. There are a couple videos out with other channels who have tested this trigger, and most of them do hover around that 3.5 pounds, so I may have just gotten one that's got a little bit lighter spring here. But all in all, it's very crisp. As you can see from test firing and everything, we've got a very crisp pull. We've got just almost no travel whatsoever before that break. And we reset. Also, very, very little movement in here before you get a break. And then we can follow up with another shot. And this is exactly what you want to see with a really high quality trigger. Just almost no movement from reset to breaking your shot. So overall, I'm very happy with this trigger. Now, like I said, it is coming in at just under 3 pounds. It's coming in at about 2 pounds, 12 ounces on average. So that is a little bit less than 3. But like I said, I don't particularly have a problem with that. As long as everything functions good, it resets right, and everything's going smooth, then I don't mind having a little bit less than a 3 pound trigger pull. Now, if you got any other comments or questions or anything else we can answer about this, go ahead and hit us up over at arbuildjunkie.com. Leave us a comment down there on the blog. We'd be happy to answer any questions you have. And thank you for joining us in our video today.